the link so that you can see it, but it's a 20-second delay. And I find it to be very confusing with the delay to stay in the moment of the conversation.
It's okay.
So I'll check out. I have Liz there. She's going to be dropping links. And oh, cool. Let's start with me explaining my thoughts on live streaming. Awesome. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome so much to today's live. I am so grateful to be joined here by two of my favorite people, not just in the coaching industry or in the relationship space as a whole, but just like two of my favorite people that have walked planet Earth and that I have had the extreme pleasure of working alongside. I'd love to introduce you to Jamie and Jonathan of Coopetition Coaching. Finally, both of you here together.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it into the same room.
You made it. So for those of you who have been following me in the last couple of lives that I've done, you may be familiar with Jamie at this point. She's come on, and what did we talk about last time? We talked about self-love. We talked about partnership. We had a super incredible conversation.
Yeah.
And then we took a great bath.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a quality Tuesday.
It was an awesome Tuesday. And now we have the pleasure of being joined by Jonathan. And Jamie and Jonathan are not just partners in their coaching practice, they're also partners in life.
Yeah.
And because they are two epic people who have come together to create an epic relationship and help other people to create epic relationships, I've invited them on to talk about what creates an epic relationship. And the reason that they are so primed to have this conversation, I'm waving hi because I'm seeing some familiar faces signing on to the YouTube live. Welcome, everyone. Their way of approaching relationships and coaching couples is a little bit unique. Actually, it's a lot of bit unique in my space. And I think it's going to be really unique and sort of eye-opening for you watching us live. And the reason for that, and I'm sure this will be familiar to a lot of folks, is that when we think about working on our relationship, we think about working on our relationship, like efforting. You know, if you've ever been to couples coaching, if you've ever been to counseling, if you've ever been to like relationship therapy or couples therapy, you know that it can actually create a space to dredge up a lot of really difficult stuff, right? And with good reason, right? If two people are willing to go there, willing to have the hard conversations, willing to have their deep, dark stuff dredged up in front of one another and heal it, you know, tuck their egos aside and like really do the work, it can be a really profound space for doing that. And I was at I officiated a wedding ceremony on Tuesday, on 2/2/22 Tuesday earlier this week. And someone said to me, you know, we went to couples counseling. I aired a lot of my grievances because I mistakenly thought it was a safe space and that the counselor created this neutral environment. And, you know, in the end, I think we're actually going to break up because my partner just heard me dredge up all of my complaints and they couldn't receive it. They weren't there to do the work with me. And so it just damaged their ego. And they were sort of like, incapable of meeting me after that. So one of the things that the three of us have been working when we've been working together with the couples, and we've really been creating these really intentional mini retreats over the last several weeks that we've been hosting with various couples. And what we're noticing and what we're really tapped into is something that we all have in common, which is that we like to focus on the good, not at the exclusion of the bad, and certainly not at the exclusion of what's hard, but we like to start with what is working, to build that up, to resource the foundation of the couple. And what is working? What is great? Why are we in this relationship to begin with? Like, what makes this coupledom epic and important and special? Reinforcing all of that, so that when the tough stuff comes up, when we do address the darkness, when we address the hardship, the hurts, the pains, the wounds, that we have this amazing foundation from which to come from. Have I about explained where our couples coaching and our theories overlap? I'd love to hear would you like to add to that explanation? Why do we do what we do?
You nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
You nailed it. And just to add into this and to amplify something that you said is it's not a matter of not looking at the bad stuff, but it's a matter of not fixating so much on that stuff and really making sure that we've created the safe environment, right? Bringing a therapist in does not necessarily mean an environment is safe. Bringing anyone else in does not necessarily make an environment safe. We create safety with our partners in nurturing the foundation. And the foundation is all of that good stuff that keeps our relationship going on the days when it is really hard, because sometimes our relationships are hard. And the work we're really interested in doing is sitting with couples and meeting them at that foundational level and just like juicing up that foundation so much that it is unshakable in the face of challenge. And from that place, we can start to look at the hard things. And what we notice is that a lot of those hard things seem much smaller once we've nurtured the foundation. Some of them disappear. And the things that really need to be worked on and through can be worked on and through in a truly safe environment where both partners feel safe because they know they're standing on unshakable ground. So there is nothing that can get brought into that space that could crack that foundation.
And I'll just add to that, this becomes a conversation around shadow work as well. And, if we imagine that our relationship is its own entity, and if we even imagine that our relationship was like a dog, that it can be trained, and the more that we encourage positivity, the more that dog will be trained in a really positive way, in a way that doesn't cause it trauma, in a way that doesn't kick up all this stuff for it, And so, yes, of course, there's good and bad in everything. But while we shift our focus to the good, we're able to bring in that shadow side and play with it and change that relationship, because we're showing ourselves more love, we're showing our partner more love, we're showing our partnership more love. And we're starting from that place that when we start looking at the darker elements of our relationship, there's a different relationship and there's more play involved and there's less negativity put onto it, and it's very proven that, positive reinforcement is 100% the way to go in training anything. And we must train our relationship as we go along.
One of the things that we've talked about before together is how the relationship is really based on the two people that are in that relationship, right? And like the health of the relationship has a lot to do with the health and the development and the care and the self-love of the people who are invested in that relationship. And I think, like, Jonathan, what you just said really speaks to that for me. It's like our relationship is trained and made better through love and positive reinforcement, and our own individual relationship with ourselves internally is made through love and positive reinforcement. And the three of us are throwing a retreat together that's coming up here at the end of March, and we are starting with a full day on self-love. And when we first conceptualized the retreat, it became really obvious to us that was the place that we had to start, because the two people that make up the relationship, if they don't love themselves, it's almost trite at this point, but it's true. It is impossible for them to come together and love one another. Can you speak more about how that, because, one of the things I really want to share with the audience here before I let this cat out is about y'all's work in particular, because you have a really particular way of doing things. Paul. The two people have a really particular way of doing things, and it really starts with the body and it moves out from there. And it really starts with the self and it moves out from there. So can you share a little bit more about why you organize your work with couples in that way?
Do you want to share?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so our work starts at the body level. Almost every single session begins with Pilates, and if it's not Pilates, it's some form of physical movement to really get you into a grounded place in your body. Because I don't care how much mental work you do, if your body is not cared for, the mind is not at its peak capacity. The emotional body is not able to process things in a way that feels easy. So we start every session with individual movement work so that we can really get into an embodied place before we move outward, right? We move in before we move out. So we move, we breathe, we meditate, and then we sit down and start talking and really moving what is wanting to move in that session. Oftentimes it is talk of amplifying the joy and then bringing in the shadowy stuff because we have to move through that. But really from this place that has had so much warm up that we can get into this stuff without it feeling so sticky. So we'll move through the shadow and then we do meditation. We are both Reiki healers, so we bring in some energy healing into our work. And what we've noticed is that it creates understanding on an intellectual level, but also an embodied level, so that we're not taking this new understanding and still moving through the world differently, right? Have you ever had a therapy session where all of a sudden you understand something up here and then you just notice yourself continuing to move through the world in that way that is not helpful? The work we do really brings it from the mind into the body so that we can move through the world differently, move in our relationships differently.
And why we teach the things that we specifically teach, in particular Pilates, there's a few reasons, and there's a lot of layers to that. One of the layers is that you don't need anything but your body and a mat to do Pilates. You know, that's already a powerful thing right there. In Pilates, we are always strengthening one muscle group while lengthening another muscle group. So you don't get done with a Pilates session and need to stretch. Also, every Pilates session works the entire body, all planes of the body. So there isn't an arms day and a legs day and a back. There's none of that. Every day we work our full body. So we really get in alignment with our body. Another core principle of Pilates is breath. And if you're breathing and just doing the choreography right, you're already doing 40% of the exercise properly, you know, but the breath is such an integral part of that. And it helps to get into the brain by getting out of the brain. And Pilates really helps that, you know, it makes you focus and put everything that happened before and what's coming after. It makes you put that down because you really have to concentrate on what you're doing. In particular, learning new things and moving your body in a way that you've never done before. Finally, another reason that we teach Pilates is because according to Joseph Pilates, the creator of Pilates, his concept was that he created each exercise to either mimic or make you better at sex. And his philosophy was that if he could get more people exercising and having sex, there would be less war. And I really think he was onto something.
Yeah, especially on a day like today, the thought that every little thing that we can do that contributes to a more peaceful, more loving, more compassionate environment, both within our individual worlds, but then the world at whole, is absolutely worth doing. And to get the physical relationship, or the relationship between the physical body and sex, is so obvious, and at the same time not obvious at all. What you said about getting out of your brain in order to get into your brain. You know, I've had the pleasure of co-hosting 2 retreats here with the 2 of you at my home. And, you know, for those of you who haven't had a chance to join us, the 3 of us open up the retreat and we set our intentions. I teach a little communication exercise most of the time. And then Yonatan takes all of the people outside and all of them do Pilates. And it's like so beautiful because we have a combination of people who are like really fit and they're like, yeah, let's work out. But then we have people who are like, this is new to me. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing. And his way of teaching and holding everyone just gives them like this incredible experience. And by the end, you know, all of these sort of like disjointed parts of a whole, like all the people kind of figuring their thing out, everyone is in sync. And they're all smiling and they're all like, can we do more? And, you know, then Jamie and I come out and we hand out like warm towels and cool everybody off and let them like wipe down. And it's just incredible to watch the transition, not just of the individual from maybe they're nervous because they haven't done a retreat that has to do with sex coaching and they're like not really sure what's going to go on. And like they're, you know, they have their own questions and vulnerabilities. And, you know, of course I can't say it enough. It's not a sexy retreat. It's about sex, but it's not a retreat where people are doing sexy things, so to speak. I know we got to clarify that because we keep getting asked if this is an orgy. It's not NRG 100 times over. It's just not. If we ever throw one of those, we'll absolutely let you know, but this is not that. But it's so nice to watch people go from feeling a little insecure and nervous and, maybe just like a little disjointed, and they have a little bit of trouble speaking their intentions, or they lack a little clarity in their system, or a little groundedness in their nervous system. And then they go into this experience where they come out of it transformed, grounded. One of the things that I really like about Pilates is thinking about like pulling various parts of your body and your legs and your arms in towards the center and expanding them out and away from the body too. And like, I think that just happens on a nervous system level as well as a physical level, right? People come back way more grounded, and their perception and the space that they take up in their energetic field is expanded. And then on top of that, we get to watch the whole community of people, everybody that goes out there, all like 6 or 12 or however many people are in the class that Yonatan is leading. They all come back as sort of a unit for having moved together. And it's like, it's that simple, but it's that profound. Right. And I think, how many of us like take the opportunity to do something like that gets us in sync, not just with our partner, but also drops us deeper into ourselves. And then we do the rest of our work for the day. And then we do the energy work, or we do the guided meditation, or we do the Reiki, or we do the embodiment practice, or we lead the couples through a communication exercise. One of the things that y'all do, and I got to join you last time, sort of like on stage leading Reiki, which was so cool. I'm curious, like if you're on the live stream right now, if you're chatting with us, like raise your hand, type in the chat. If you've heard of Reiki, if you've ever experienced Reiki, if you've had any sort of energy work that you have some experience with, or you're curious about Reiki, I'm curious to know, because it's sort of new in my world. I mean, I heard about it a long time ago, but I didn't have a really profound experience really until the two of you came into my life. And I'm curious if you can share the definition of Reiki and like why it matters. Why is that? Why do we move from Pilates? Why do we move from Pilates, and why do we incorporate Reiki, and what is Reiki?
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have our physical body that we move in Pilates, right? And then extended a little bit less densely and a little farther beyond the physical body, we have our emotional and our energetic body. And this sounds a little bit woo-woo at first, but if you think about what happens when you pick up the phone and someone you really care about is on the other end, you can feel their emotional state. Someone walks into a room that's really pissed off, you can feel the change in the state of that room when a new energy comes in. So we all actually have a really pretty decent understanding of this. Reiki just begins to really look at what that relationship to energy is. And a Reiki practitioner amplifies whatever healing is requested or whatever energy is ready to move. So if I go into a Reiki session as a client or someone who's receiving Reiki, and I say I really want to find a greater state of relaxation, and Yonatan is my practitioner, he can support that intention so that I can get there faster. And we're really just manipulating and using the energy that connects us all. And that's Reiki, and it has made a profound impact on our lives as individuals, on our relationship together, and on our clients' lives. And the cool thing about everything that we do is it's all the stuff that makes our relationship so awesome. We've really made it our priority to create the best relationship that we can between the two of us, and to share what tools we use to make it easier on other folks, because I know that not everyone wants to spend all of their time figuring out how to have the best relationship possible. They want to have it delivered in a really easy way.
We've done that for you because we want to spend time on it. Let us share it with you.
We love spending time on it. You might not. So here, let's make it quick and easy and accessible for you.
To your point, let's talk about how specifically, I think we've talked sort of generally about how something like Pilates or something like Reiki can make for a relationship to be epic. And I recognize that like everyone that's watching this, whether you're watching the live or the recorded, you maybe were expecting a sex coach on her YouTube channel to be like, use your fingers like this. This is the secret to great relationship, or, something along those lines, right? Because we focus a lot on like tips and techniques. But what I actually brought Jamie and Yonatan on here to share with you is the way less popular, way less, because it doesn't, talking about like moving your body and moving the energy between the two of you, like that doesn't, that's not clickbaity, that's not like a quick fix. That's not something that like there's, the more like shock and awe YouTubers are going to come out and say, right? They're going to come out and put something like very bombastic, but also something that's like, kind of untested, maybe only available to a few. And what I like about these techniques is that like these are available to all relationships, no matter how much economic privilege you have, or racial privilege, or gender privilege, or whatever, like no matter how many children you have, no matter what you do for a living or where you live in the world, like these are tools that are actually transformative to all relationships. They strengthen the good. They make it easier for us to focus on the hard stuff. And they're accessible. So if we were to sort of go back to Pilates and speak to that more generally, like generally, the secret to having an epic relationship is what? Moving your bodies together?
I think that that's an element of it. I think this conversation comes back to self-love first, right? Is taking care of oneself. And starting with taking care of your body is a no-brainer. We all have to do that. And so as we take care of ourselves and our partner is doing the same thing, that starts to move in parallel. That starts to move together. And so, we've chosen these specific modalities because Pilates deals with the body and gets you out of your mind and gets you into your breath. Meditation is, again, that kind of that spiritual energy, right? And all to drop you back into a heart-centered place and into a mind-centered place so that you can talk and do exercises and flush all this stuff out. And Reiki, there's like a last bit of unknown to all of this, right? And there's actually a lot of beauty to that unknown. And Reiki is the thing that finds its way in between the cracks of the unknown. So while we do, as we do our self-love rituals, we find that we're brought closer together. If I don't move my body, I might be kind of cranky. But I move my body, I sweat, I'm breathing, my heart rate is up, I feel strong. I come back to my partner and I'm like, oof, I'm open, I'm here for it, And the same thing with her. Anytime that we might find ourselves in a conflict, we ask ourselves, the first thing we ask, have we exercised today? Have we moved our bodies? If the answer is yes, okay, have we breathed? Okay, where's our energy at? These are things that you can come back to that are not, as you said, they're not a quick fix. They're a lifestyle change. They're the things that you start doing every day or every couple of days to foster a beautiful relationship and a connected one over the course of a long period of time, over the course of your whole life, as opposed to this technique that I'm using to fix this problem, and maybe it does in that moment, but we haven't actually addressed the underlying stuff.
What about for someone who doesn't have for whom the conversation around like energy work, Reiki, and I love, you've described it to me before as like the people's medicine, right? So it's not just like woo-woo energy feeling stuff. It's also healing. It's also a form of wellness and a form of medicine for the body and for the energy body, which, I think a lot of us, until we have an awakening around, oh my gosh, there's a body that is non-physical and it relates to my physical body, but they're not the same, and for a lot of us, it takes until something is really hurting, but we don't have a physiological reason for the reason that it hurts, or we keep sort of accidentally injuring the same side of our body, but like through a series of just calamities that we cannot account for, except for to say that like, so there's a higher power, there's a message here beyond just like what my physical body is trying to tell me, there's something after that. And I'm curious, what could a couple for whom energy medicine is brand new or unfamiliar, or they just want to like test it out for themselves and see if they can use it to enhance their individual lives and their coupledom, are there things that they can do to bring that into their relationship? Maybe even like for the skeptics out there to like see for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And something that just popped into my mind that I think might be really resonant for the folks who follow you is if the idea of energy medicine is a little out there, think about sexual tension, right? The person that you have sexual tension with walks into a room, your body has a response to this energy being in the room. You're not touching, but your body has shifted. And that's energy, right? So we can cultivate that and use this in playful ways. We can use it in healing ways. And one of our favorite ways to do this together is our hands are these very energized parts of our bodies. They have some of the most nerve endings in our body. Our hands are incredibly sensitive. And so something that we sometimes practice doing is you take your hands and rub them together until you start to feel a little bit of heat, a little bit of energy. When you start to feel a little heat between your palms, you can stop rubbing them and just bring them maybe an inch apart. And start to notice if there is a sensation that you feel from these hands, not touching, but just the energy moving between your hands. And we can start to play with this. We can start to expand this out. We can bring it in closer and just notice, be a witness to what your experience is. And if you would like to bring this into loving connection with your partner, you can face your partner and bring your palms to face theirs. Making eye contact, taking a few deep breaths, and just noticing what happens when we pull our hands away and we bring them closer. And we can cultivate and nourish and offer love to this energy that is between us. The relationship that two people share is an entity that extends out beyond these two individuals and resides in between them. So we can play with this energy, bringing in a powerful intention. So my intention right now is to send some love and kindness to Yonatan, because I appreciate him so much. And we can play with this. We sometimes like to play with this over the body and just notice what occurs. But really starting here, if you're a beginner to playing with energy, starting here, start with the hands, start with some eye contact and just notice what you experience. Set a timer for 2 or 3 minutes and just witness. Thank you.
Another really beautiful tool is something that we just released today. Jamie and I have created these Reiki meditation videos. The videos are of us doing Reiki, Jamie leading meditation. The music is composed by me. While I composed and mixed the music, I did Reiki on the music. I juiced it up with good energy. While I edited the video, I juiced it up with good energy. As I bounced everything down, I did Reiki on everything. So it's like a very potent, energetic little gift that we'd like to share with everybody. And that's part of our website, and we'll drop a link and all that. But it's something that it's a 5.5 minute meditation, and we've seen it really change the energy of a person in that we've shared it with. And we really welcome your audience to, send us your email and download this free gift, and then spend a week just watching it in the morning or at night before you go to bed or whatever. Spend a week and see what that does. See if there's any kind of effect, if it really resonates with you, and maybe it doesn't, and that's okay too. But I really strongly believe that for a lot of people, it will give them a sense of calm, a sense of peace, a centering to themselves. And it's something that you get to experience forever. Once you have that link, you can watch it as many times as you want. And it's really very powerful. Some of this stuff can't be put into words. It just has to be experienced.
That's a really generous free gift. As someone who has gotten the privilege of early early exposure, early opportunities to watch and witness the meditations that y'all have created. I can speak on behalf of the meditations. Everything that Yonatan just said about them is absolutely true. And something that has really developed in me over the last several years is, I come from a science background. I was a researcher. I was my plan was to be a tenure track professor and publish, and, energy wasn't really like a part of my conversation. And I was highly skeptical, even though I also was sensitive and aware that like more than what could be explained was happening in my world around me. But I also was taught, like most of us are, to sort of reject that line of thinking and to focus on what's like empirically, even measurably true. And for that reason, amongst others, if you are skeptical, I love you and support you in your skepticism 1,000%. I think y'all's backgrounds are not in energy healing. Your backgrounds are not in how the metaphysical, right? Jamie, your background literally is in the physical body. Jonathan, your background is in the creation of music and is highly, highly technical. And also like real physical. If you've ever seen a producer's setup, there's a lot of buttons and knobs and tubes, and the energy component is the part that you plug into the wall, right? But the act of performing and the act of creating music has a big energetic component, and moving a body has a huge energetic component. And I admit that for me, I was very skeptical of the role that this type of work and these exercises could play. And I think part of the reason I was skeptical is because they felt so easy. It felt too easy, right? Coming back to sort of our core theory on like, where our coaching of couples really overlaps is that actually easy is okay. Actually easy is desirable. Actually easy is an indication that what we're doing is working. We're so used to it being hard. And one of Jamie's, like, one of the things that I hear you say often is like, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. And I invite anyone who's doing this live, if your partner is with you, and you tried this, and you tried the experience of sharing and receiving and sending energy with a partner, like, what was your experience like? Did you try it? Can you try it? Is your person or is someone home? I mean, this doesn't have to be a romantic partner. You can do this as a parent. You can do this as a child. Like, let's rub our hands together and see if we can feel each other without touching each other. One of my coaches, Jaya, says, energetic touch is touching without touching. It's not like the absence of touching. It is touching without the physical aspect that we typically think of as touching. And even more to your point, if you're skeptical, give it 5 minutes a day for a week and just see what happens, because where you put your energy, where you put your focus is where your life force goes towards, right? Whether you use this language or not, wherever you are putting your focus is where your energy is flowing. And this is so true when it comes to working on creating an epic relationship. If you are focused on what is bad, what is hard, what is not working, that is what is going to receive all of your energy and all of your life force. Now, I do feel like I should caveat here, which is to say that if you are in a relationship with a abusive partner, a neglectful partner, a partner who maybe has like a personality disorder, like they're narcissistic, they have, something that maybe is a little bit less common to people like borderline. They are violent with their words, their actions, or even their energy towards you, then focusing on the good in that relationship is only going to prolong an unhealthy relationship. Right? Those are not the kind of relationship that we're here to talk about. And those are not the kind of relationship, if you come to either one of us and you're seeking relationship coaching, and we see that, we're not going to take you because we don't want to make bad relationships better. We want to make good relationships great and great relationships excellent. We want to take you from a place that is well to a place that is beyond your wildest dreams. Right? So, and we want to do it in a way that just shocks you in how easy it can be.
Yeah.
Say more.
I just wanted to touch on that in this conversation around energy, that the energy work and the science are not at odds with each other. They're actually very in line with each other. If you look at quantum physics talks about all of this, about the energetic field, about the connection, and all things are connected by energy. And so there's actually a movement in science that's headed in this direction. It's just, it takes a little bit of extra time for society to get that information, right? But we actually, and something that I've learned from collaborating with you, Caitlin, and doing these retreats together, is that even though we are coming at it from a different angle, the place that we're coming to is the same. And it really, it creates this collaborative and complementary experience for the people that we work with. I mean, it's so apparent seeing these people's faces, and whether it's 3 days or 3 hours or whatever, we are creating change in people's lives that they're coming back and telling us, hey, all of these things put together really changed something for us.
I had a little microphone meltdown, but I'm back. Thank you. Thank you. What an honor it's been to co-host these retreats with the two of you. The way that the three of us work together and the way that we weave together our interests and our intersections and for me, I think the highlight is the way that we are adapting at all times to the people who we are working with, the relationships that are in front of us. When I started my career and I was doing live events, they had to be done exactly the way that I planned them because I wasn't confident enough to go off script, right? If you've known me, first of all, raise your hand if you happen to be in this live and you knew me when I was like starting. If you like 5-6 years ago when I was hosting my very first live events, and I'm glad, I'm really grateful that I did the work that I did and that I stuck to the script the way that I did it, because that was the only way that I knew how to do things. And now the three of us together, we come together to create like a net that holds all of the people and it holds all of us, right? So when I don't, when my microphone is going haywire, or, when I don't know what the next thing to say is because it hasn't dropped in yet and I'm waiting for it, and Jonathan jumps in or Jamie jumps in and they have the exact next thing that needs to be said. And we are flowing, the three of us together. And I think that for the couples who are coming to work with us, again, if you want to be one of those couples, please, the door is closing. If you want to come and join us in Tulum, we would love to have you. We are just a little bit over a month away from that retreat. We start on March 28th. So please, March 30th. We're arriving on March 28th and my brain is just committed. That's the day. We're starting on March 30th and we would love to have you join us. And again, the window for opportunity is closing. If you would like to join us, there's a website. You can learn a little bit more. If you're already like feeling this and this is something that you want more of, you want more ease and support in your epic relationship and the creation of that, you want a little more adventure and you want to join us in a absolutely stunning location in the jungle of Tulum, we would be absolutely delighted to work with you and have you there. There's an application form. Once you submit your application form, you get to go on a phone call with Jamie and Jonathan, and they will determine if not just you're a great fit for the retreat, but also if we're a great fit for you. Because the three of us, we work together in such a way that we are here to support, that we're here to hold, we're here to contain, and we're only going to do that if we're 100% sure that we can support your relationship. If we can be a contribution to your relationship. What I wanted to come back to there was that, the two of you are romantic partners, right? Your partnership actually brings something really unique into this environment because you are role modeling live for your clients what it looks like to be in a supportive, thoughtful, intentional, romantic partnership. And then there's this other thing that happens when your partnership plus each of you as individuals plus me is in the mix, right? And in some ways, we're actually demonstrating what it looks like to be in partnership and in community at the same time, right? Because no partnership exists completely devoid of context. And I think, if we're talking about the secrets to having an epic relationship in front of other people, right? Because you can have, and I've worked with couples who do, they have a great relationship when they're off on their own, right? But then you add the third, and the third can mean a lot of things. It can be the dog in the bedroom. It can be the baby that we like literally are now welcoming a third person into our family. It can be a mother-in-law. It can be a job that has you up at 5 a.m. checking your email and up late at night, bringing your laptop in the bedroom. All of these are representative of the idea of the third, and all relationships have outside influences. They have their own version of a third. And so an epic relationship has to be able to entertain the third, make space for the third, be present to and witness of the third without getting completely like bowled over or taken over or not nurtured anymore. And part of the third is the third becomes a witness to that relationship as well. I haven't really thought about this so much until just now, thinking about what makes, working with the two of you so magical for me. And it's not just that I get to like be a witness to your relationship. It's also that we together create a community, and we represent a relationship that exists inside of a larger community. And if your relationship or your partnership, you're watching this and you don't feel like your partnership is contributing to your greater community, if you feel like it doesn't get to contribute to your family, to your religious organization, your church, your temple, your mosque, if you don't feel like your relationship is emboldened by and supported by and then supportive of the community around you, like, that hurts. It can be really, really, really hard, and it can be a massive drain on a relationship if it doesn't get supported by the people that you're with. And to bring this back to Tulum, we work with people often independently. I have a men's group coaching program. I have we're launching some more cool related stuff to that here soon. So I do get to see the power of men working and being vulnerable and sharing in front of other men. What a massive and transformational thing that is. But the difference between coaching a couple in one-on-one coaching where they're talking to you and coaching a couple in front of other couples where they are, one of 6 or one of 12 folks in a room is huge. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what it means to like coach a couple and have them be witnessed by other couples at the same time.
Yeah. This lights me up so much. And to your point, like something that we talk about often is that we don't complete each other. Like Yonatan is 100%. I am 100%. But when we come together, it's like 600%. When we come together with you, it's like it just begins to expand at this rapid rate because we've each made sure that we're 100%. We are whole. We are complete within ourselves. And so when you bring these complete individuals together, complete individuals, a complete partnership, a complete human being, the growth is exponential, and what you're capable of creating is exponential. And we do work one-on-one with couples, we do work one-on-one with individuals, and we do group work. And something really exceptional happens when we come together in a group with the intention of healing and bettering ourselves. And when we come together in that way, we are vulnerably bringing our stuff to other people because intuitively we know that this work is not just for us. When we work on our partnership, we are impacting our entire community. When we do that work on our partnership in front of our community, we are offering them the opportunity to feel less alone. So without fail, every time we've witnessed a couple being vulnerable and bringing their stuff into community group, every other couple around them, every other individual around them smiles and nods and has an emotional reaction because they get to experience, hey, me too. You are not alone in this. I also have struggled with this, and I thought that I was alone. I thought I was the only one. And when people come together in this way to do their work, to do the work on their relationships to make them better, right? Sometimes it's hard to make it easy. That could be a struggle, right? Sometimes I make it hard. That's a truth. And I know that I'm supposed to make it easy, but man, I just keep finding ways to make it hard. And I say that in community, and I see my friends, right? People who are dear to me saying, yeah, me too, same. And we can laugh at it and we can smile at it. And that's where the real healing happens, is in not feeling alone, not feeling like we're doing it alone, because we are not doing it alone. We are so deeply connected to our communities. And when we come together in community, whether it's an old established community or brand new community like we're bringing together in Tulum, we heal together and we create shifts just in the same way that we are more powerful together. Our healing work is more powerful when we do it together. So that's what we're doing in Mexico. And it's powerful. It's been really powerful to start hosting these retreats with you and to witness, this coaching work that we do together grow and expand at such a rapid rate, with it being 3, not 2, and collaborating with you.
Jonathan, do you want to add
That.
Jonathan joked the other day that Jamie and I talk and then we kind of leave him to like bring up the rear. And it's obviously because you're so capable and so profound, and you can speak so, you can speak in like this very like grounding and like you're succinct. Jamie and I can obviously fill a room with a lot of conversation and get to the same point, and Jonathan can kind of do it in like a efficiently.
Well, I learned so much from the two of you listening, and so I just really get to enjoy both of your brilliance by listening. I guess the only thing that I wanted to add to this conversation is just that, as we take care of ourselves, again, back to self-love, as we, really raise our own personal vibration, we affect the people around us positively. We raise their vibration as well. And I'm not even just talking about our partners or our family or our community. I'm talking about strangers, total strangers. As we raise our vibration, the people that are in our vicinity are affected by that. And that's a really powerful thing, to realize that when you're taking good care of yourself, you're actually taking care of the world. Taking good care of yourself might be selfish, but selfish in a really good way, in a way that is also selfless. I'm going to take a step away for just 1 second, and I'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
He's leaving the girls to chat.
Here we are.
To the point that Jonathan just made about investing in oneself, I think, as with all messages, you have to ask yourself and get curious about who benefits from you believing that, right? And I think that we were brought up, at least I was brought up in such a way that was like, to be selfish was a cardinal sin. And anything that was like you, and I grew up in the Midwest, so anything that was like you investing in yourself that wasn't ultimately so that you could earn more money or get a better job or have more power or have better influence or like, contribute more in some way in this very, very direct way was superfluous and selfish and unnecessary, and you shouldn't do it. And what I have found since questioning those beliefs is that the people that really benefit from that are the people who benefit from you being unhappy. The people that benefit from you really like slaving away for someone else's bottom line. And it can be sometimes the work of getting to the place where we're willing to invest in ourselves is actually harder than the work that sits on the other side, right? It's actually a lot harder to decide I'm going to invest in myself in my relationship than sometimes like what your coach actually asks you to do can feel like a lot easier than that. Yeah.
Totally. We experience this a lot, and we laugh about this a lot. We'll get folks sometimes who are curious about coaching, and then they go, but I'm scared. And there's this like cat and mouse game with themselves of, I know that I want to invest in myself, but I'm what does that look like? I'm scared of putting myself first, because that is beginning to really look at this lifelong pattern of not putting myself first. And that's a big deal, to really start to like pull apart at that belief that you come last, right?
True.
And that if you take care of the world enough, the world will take care of you. A lot of us hold this belief that if I just show up enough, the world will take care of me. And if the world is not taking care of me, it means that I'm not showing up enough. So I'm going to work harder. I'm going to do more. I'm going to exhaust myself. And that's not true.
Literally a first class ticket to resentment.
Totally. First class ticket to resentment, to burnout, to physical health issues, to relationship issues. It is not the key to success, but it is the key that we've been sold. And it's just not true anymore. It's never actually been true. And we're seeing the result of several generations of people not putting themselves first. We're at this time where we're really starting to tear this apart, because we can see where we're at, and where we're at doesn't feel so good for most people as a collective. So we get to start to pull this apart and say, what happens if I put my oxygen mask on first? What happens if the first thing I do in the morning is take care of me and then take care of my kids? Even if that's just for 2 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing I do is take care of me before I take care of my partner. The first thing that I do is take care of me always. And when that happens, the world feels like a much kinder place, because our internal world is a kind place to be. And we actually show up more powerfully. What we have to give comes from a place of authenticity rather than expectation that we're going to get something back for it. We're giving from this place of overflow, because I've taken care of myself so much that I want to give to you, because I have this to give. I have this gift for you. I don't need anything for it. It is a gift rather than an exchange of expectations.
With strings attached. You said our world feels like a much nicer place, and our partnership feels like a much nicer place.
Yeah.
When I show up to my partnership with like my cup full, then I am no longer looking at my partner to fill my cup, and I can really allow him to be himself, and I can love him for who he is, instead of how well on this day does he align with my expectations? How well does he fill me? Which is like this place, that's potentially a very, very like a very deep well. But it can actually be, as you said, it can be really easy, especially when we get into the habit. At first it can feel very confusing. Like, how am I supposed to fill my cup? What does that look like? Do I have to take bubble baths now? Do I have to do the cucumber slices on my eyes? Must I meditate? Right? Like, you're an individual person. You have your own individual DNA and characteristics and horoscope and blood type. And you're a completely unique being. So the cool thing, but the really can be hard thing about this, but we can make it easy, is figuring out how your individual cup gets filled best, right? And again, queen of making it hard over here. Just all puns intended in all ways. Ian, when I stopped telling myself that like my cup had to get filled up in the way that other people's cups get filled up, when I stopped kind of like forcing myself to do 40-minute long meditations, because that's how it's supposed to be. And instead I could recognize that like in 10 or 15 minutes, I could get to a place that felt really good. And I didn't have to do that every single day, like militaristic. Did you do your thing today? When I realized that like, well, Jamie, you've been with me on this cooking journey. Jamie's an excellent effing cook. It's a shame that we're having a private chef in Tulum. But otherwise Jamie would freaking lay down some epic curious experiences. When I realized that like I was not cooking, and cooking could like fill my cup, like just taking an hour out of my day to make food was actually like really fulfilling for me. It wasn't taking away or distracting from what I was trying to create in the world. It actually could be moving in that direction. Like, what a huge mindset shift that was for me. But cooking's not going to be everybody's cup filler. You have to do the work of figuring out what it is. Physical touch, like touching yourself, for those of you watching this who are like not getting enough physical touch in your relationship and looking at your partner to touch you. Like, can you give yourself conscious, soft, intentional, sensual touch in a way that fulfills you? And I challenge people all the time. If you're skeptical and you're like, touch has to come from outside or else it's no good, try it. Give it 5 days. Listen to the meditation, and then do like a 3-minute, 5-minute self-touch exercise. Just draw your attention to the different parts of your body that want some touch, and see how it changes your partnership. As we're entering the last few minutes of our live stream here, I asked the people in the chat if they had any specific questions for the two of you. And the only one that I saw was, do you ever finish each other's sentences? And I have to admit, I'm curious. I spend a lot of time with you. But do you find that you finish each other's sentences very often?
I don't know if it's quite like that. It's definitely when I have no idea what to say, Jamie knows exactly what to say, and vice versa. Yeah. We're definitely aligned on a lot of things, and sometimes before the sentence is over, we already know what the other person is saying. But I don't recall a lot of us finishing each other's sentences. More just kind of like, I don't know what to say, and she's dropping like brilliant knowledge.
And vice versa. I'd say, Caitlin, I experienced that more with you. Like in my first meeting of you and I were like babbling on the same sentence.
Yeah.
It's true. Incoherent to anyone else around us, but we knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Like totally speaking in our own language and just going, oh my God, you too.
You also speak that language? Great. Yeah.
It was great. Phenomenal. I'm going to see if this works. I don't know if it will, but I want to show everyone. Let's see. This is the space that we are hosting our upcoming retreat together. As you can see, it's beautiful. We're going to be eating dinners prepared by a private chef right there at that table. We are going to be hosting a whole variety of different exercises that are going to make being in partnership easier, that are going to make focus. Oh my God, just look at this space. We are going to be making it even easier and easier and easier and easier to find yourself in a relationship, to find yourself in a deep and meaningful partnership, one that is filled with pleasure and quality communication and satisfaction and the ability to like speak your truth and be honest with one another. I mean, that's just the very tip of the iceberg. We're going to move bodies. We're going to move energy. You're going to have all three of us in a very, very closed container, in a very small group of individuals. And you'll have those opportunities that we spoke about earlier to say, oh my gosh, we're not alone. Oh my gosh, this healing thing can be done with ease and grace. Oh my gosh, we can create a partnership that is not just stellar, but is an example for everyone that we touch. And we can fill our own cups in the process of doing that. So if you are curious at all about joining us March 30th through April 3rd in Tulum, the links are in the chat. They'll be in the description if you're watching the recording of this video. We would absolutely adore having you, but you have got to get on it fast. Please apply. Like I said earlier, Jamie and Yonatan are personally hosting calls with every couple who fulfills all of the needs on the application form, and we think it's a good fit for the retreat, which means that before you're even signed up for the retreat, you get to bask in their genius. You lucky humans, you. The retreat is open to couples. The retreat is open to couples who are in love and who have great relationships and want to make them even greater. It is open to couples who want to learn really the secrets to forming an epic partnership. Do you have anything that you would like to add before we say goodbye?
That talking to you brings me so much joy. Mm-hmm. And the three of us getting together to talk and just share our thoughts is so wonderful because we each have these very different vantage points and really we're all looking at the exact same thing. And it's so powerful every time we get together and talk and hold space and share space. And I'm so deeply grateful. And if you are interested in this meditation that Yonatan mentioned, just go to our website, subscribe, drop your email address in, and you will get an email from us with a visual guided meditation. It is infused with Reiki energy. So if you're not sure what this is all about, try it, bring your skeptical mind. We are open to skepticism, and let us know what you think.
Excellent. I will throw that in the description as well.
Cool.
And I just want to express a lot of gratitude for the both of you, and Caitlin for sharing your audience with us and getting to bring some of the things that we're really, really passionate about to a wider audience. We really are passionate about helping people and reevaluating relationships, and making things easier. When things are easy, it's because you're good at it, and there's so much that you're good at. It doesn't have to be hard, especially when it comes to love and it comes to connection. And we are all built like that. We're built to connect. We're built to be close to one another. We're built for community and for love, and so let us teach you how to make that easy, or let us remind you how to make that easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you both so much. As always, a pleasure to see you and work with you. And thank you everyone who tuned in and joined us. I hope that this was as beautiful of a reminder as ever of all of the things that you are so capable of and so worthy of. So thank you so much for joining us and allowing us to remind you. We love you very much. Check out the links, and we will see you here again soon, and perhaps in Tulum.